How's it going, everyone? Technically, we're just getting started. I hope you appreciate that new addition to the line of what we're up to, and that's basically an intro crawl. So, if it seems strange, this little transfer, it's only because of the fact that I haven't actually made that intro yet. It's still brewing in the head. Gotta always get ourselves comfortable before we talk, don't we? I mean, my main concern is keeping people's attention, so please keep your attention. If you have to, do the same as me. Get comfortable right now. If you're listening to it auditorily, you can do whatever you want, including, as I've been told by many a friend, fall asleep because I just have that natural ASMR type vibe and feel to my voice line. For any casting agents out there, though, I am more than capable of changing my voice. I can even do deeper if you need. I can do a little bit higher, the point is. I'm just saying, okay, I'm going to keep it regular for everyone just because of that. Okay, that's enough fun. All right, we're already hit at 2 minutes because it's going to be about a 45-second intro in my head. That being said, welcome back and time to follow through, right? I know you all missed it so much. It is time for us to enjoy my review for Saturday Night Live Season 47, Episode 20. Host Selena Gomez, most famous from Disney, of course, but also dating Justin Bieber. Heartbreaker. He is. Also, musical guest, Post Malone. Post Malone. I always like to think he reminds me so much of a bologna sandwich. Don't ask any further, don't inquire farther. Trust me on this one, sometimes it just don't make sense to me either. I almost said either, but I'm like, this is not a posh episode. This is a coming back episode. Not coming out, though. I'm sorry, my gay audience and lovers out there. Emphasis on, I appreciate all communities. Okay. So, this week's episode's cold open, once again, for the second week in a row, started without taking place in either a political conference or a political candidate involved. So like a Trump even, or a Biden even, or a Kamala Harris even, or anything along those lines, which has been pretty much the anchor of all cold opens for, I want to say, going on 2 decades now, pretty much just about, especially during the Trump era, when he was the president, most former to Biden. So that being said, this was interesting. It was fun. I can obviously tell Kate McKinnon probably could do a lot better at the character she's supposed to portray. If I were to show people, you could understand. But the reality is sometimes they ask you to do something the moment of the show, even as close as. A lot of people might not know this. Then again, my listeners and the future's audience are very intelligent, so you do probably know this already. The cold open and weekend update are the two that are literally oftentimes even changed leading up to live from even the rehearsal based on all sorts of matters. The cold open is also called the cold open for a reason. And so yeah, this week's one started with Kate McKinnon. Easy laughs. Everyone is so happy to see Kate. She hasn't been seen as much this season, and I think that shines. People really do love Kate McKinnon, including myself. So she comes on and she introduces basically MSNBC as being your place to go when you hate things, which is easy punch. I'm cool with it. Cold intro. Then it goes into, after that, it goes into basically escapism. And they're talking about the Johnny Depp trial with Amber Heard. That being said, though, in my opinion, I'm going to add this first real quick. I'm going to say, to me personally, if you were going to cover the Heard trial, they spent 2 minutes and 41 seconds on poop jokes. The main cold open was essentially going and watching the video footage of housekeeper to, or wait, it was like Keenan started it. And he was a housekeeper. He was not the housekeeper, right? He was like the landscape guy. Then the cut to the lady, what was played by Ego, and she was also not the housekeeper. She was the something else. I think she might have been the lawn care. Then cut to the next one, which was the Melissa Villaseñor playing a very Latino granny, like old lady like type character. and you would presumably so think that she was the one that was supposed to do it, and then she also was not the person in charge of it. And then Chris Red came in with what I have to call out. He's got a new type of fro. It's like a blonded out fro. It reminds me of like the finger socket when you stick your finger in the socket type fro. And wilding out as ever. Chris is pretty much anchored in like placing this type of character into a lot, and that's fine. I'm really content saying that's a very fine place to be, especially on Saturday Night Live, especially if you're doing your best to be inside of sketches. It helps to be like that. So he's the punchline of it. He comes in talking about something wild already, which is like penises painted on the walls with blood or something. But then he sees the dookie, and then this was a fun. The only thing I think about the stacking is that then there was a callback to Keenan quitting, and he's like, I did not do that. But otherwise, it was like a lot of small little jokes about the poop, like different phrases for what to call it, like boom boom or something. Taking pictures of it because it looks like an emote. Just different stuff like that. But me personally, this is what I'm saying. If I were to take on that sketch, I would have felt like they could have done a lot more because of the fact that the whole point is how ridiculous everything is. And also, I feel like there was a missed opportunity because they could have had, in my opinion, I think she could have done it perfectly, having seen what she can handle. But if it were me, I think Chloe Fineman would have been able to play Amber Heard perfectly. And I think they could have had a lot more fun with the cold open if they cut back to the trial and had Amber Heard doing some crazy stuff. Because they had Cicely Strong playing as the judge, and they had Cicely Strong basically what she was doing was she would, obviously a Depp preferred Depp, and at one point had the wine glass, and she was just gossiping and like more interested. She was explaining like this is for entertainment. This is not a real trial. All that great stuff, if you ask me. When it comes to satire and parody, obviously in the real world, I'm going to say I don't take political stances and such and so forth, but I feel like oftentimes people don't realize that just because the trial is in the public eye doesn't necessarily mean that the public should take full heart opinions toward it, especially either side or the other. That'll only lead to more divisiveness in your life, and I can guarantee you on that, even if you have a firm opinion on which side you choose. Ultimately, I am Team Kanye, but that doesn't mean that I'm not opposed to making fantastic sketches for Pete Davidson to perform in. Not opposed to meeting Pete in real life and having Pete be my Bill Hader, if you will, because you don't direct quote me on this, but I'm fairly certain that's how it works. It's because Hader saw Pete Davidson performing stand up and then told Lauren and the crew and everything, and then that's how Pete Davidson got onto SNL ultimately. So all I'm saying is simply I'm not Team Pete or Team Kanye, but really I just prefer Kanye overall. I think he's a far better a lot of things. But then again, I don't know. I like I said, okay, has nothing to do with the cold open. Okay, but we're back from the beginnings again, folks. It's been over a year. In fact, since we were doing this. Okay, so bear with me here. There's gonna be some fun stuff coming up. I promise you that. So anyway, we're about 10 minutes. Not too bad if your attention's still in and all that. So then, that's all I got to say on that. Basically, otherwise, it was a wonderful cold open. I was very content with the cold open for many reasons. Mostly though, that for the second week in a row, it wasn't basically it wasn't even political stuff is fine. I get it. It's topical. It is the main priority also as far as Lauren's concerned. But at the same time, I feel over and I'm happy that it's become more again because there's so much more you can do with cold opens, in my opinion. Cold open is so important. It sets up the entire show right up to what I'm talking about next, which is Selena Gomez and her monologue. Now, first and foremost, the only thing I got to say, amazing dress, that dress. Oh man, the dress. Allow me to describe it to the people, though you can look it up on your phone as you're listening. It's pretty simply put. The dress was a black dress, very, very well fitting to her body. And then the arms had cuts in them with diamond designed, and it sparkled beautifully, and they held it together. So there was just a little bit of skin of the arms showing. And the way she positioned her posture was it was the most beautiful thing I've seen in a long time. Which is interesting because a lot of her monologue based around being single And when she was talking about being single, she got a good like short jab in on Machine Gun Kelly and Pete Davidson, and that was fun. And also, she got a fun one in on her co-stars in Murder, on the 13th Murder on something in the apartment, something like that. I know it's on Hulu. Feel free to look it up on Hulu. I watched the entire first season, enjoyed it thoroughly. Love Marty is the best. I love him. I love his over Marty Short and John Lovitz are the two most phenomenal examples of variants on the same type of character profiles. We're talking about the divas of the room that command the energy, even though in their worst mood, they know the truths, you know? It's a wonderful, wonderful place to be. And so Martin Short and Steve Martin are her co-stars. So she made a joke about how excited she was to be on the but then her coworkers, she would ask her friends, is like, they don't know who they are, and are they cute? And she said, do you like banjo? So that was fun. um Other than that, I mean, you could tell that well, okay, I should get okay. This is how, folks, it will get better. I promise you, it always does. I assure you, it gets better. So what I meant to say, what I should have said, I'm gonna move this forward. I forgot, so I can have it in eye line, but still make contact with everyone. Those at home are just listening to me jabber, but this is also a visual thing. It's on YouTube. So what happened was, Kyle Mooney was made to be the punchline of the majority of it, where she was talking about being single and how SNL was a place to hook up and whatever. That's why she said Machine Gun Kelly was because she did a Pete Davidson reference. Obviously, for the aforementioned, previously, it's the whole Kanye Kardashian type stuff. So the thing is, Mooney once again comes in as the punchline. Then they have the new player, not Josh. Yeah, is it Josh? No, it's not Jeff. I know they made a name joke about not knowing his name. It's James. His name is James. So the new player, James, was a similar stacking punchline. The thing I personally didn't enjoy and don't really enjoy is the infidelity jokes. So essentially, it was like both of them somehow forgot they were married. I get it's easy punching. And also, they were the two pathetic players to be made fun of, essentially. So there you go. I think if you're going to go that route, though, having Colin Jost do it would have been so much more fire, because that's like tripling down. Everyone knows he's with Scarlett Joe Mother Hansen and all that great stuff. So otherwise, it's all gravy to me. But then what I'm going to say here is then Punky Johnson comes in, easy punch, heavy hit, just a kill over. Once again, I respect homosexuals. I respect my sexual experiences in the past, present. I really don't care what you like, because I really don't care what you like. Unless we're talking about me, then obviously, like every great actor of the past, I would love to hear about how much you like me and see if it's equal to how much I love me. So that being said, though, Punky Johnson comes in and pushes him aside, as she does, akin to like Leslie Jones style, super authoritative black woman type power action house. And then the lesbian punchline, essentially. And then Gomez kicks it back with, well, let's see how the after party goes, which led me to some fun thought patterns just in my head. I'm like, oh, interesting. And then it fell flat a little at the end. I don't know. Maybe it went better off at rehearsal. I'd have to ask the girls at the most important podcast ever if you're wanting to know anything about. It's called The Standby Line. And the Standby Line podcast is easily the best thing you could ever listen to. Far better than even this stuff. If you really, really want to break it down, they have a lot of great things to teach you, especially if, much like me, you want to be able to see it live, which is completely different than when you see it from home. And having seen rehearsal and live taped in the house, in the theater, and having watched it at home for years and years now, and having watched it on streaming services on a laptop, also on my Switch. Hulu can be on Switch. Isn't that cool? So I would say Lorne is definitely right. It is truly best seen from home. There's no doubts about that. So anyway, it fell a little flat. She basically forced the I Love You, You Love Me Barney theme song onto the audience as a final callback to earlier, when the show that she was on as a child was Barney. So you'll have to watch it, see for yourself, see what you think. Honestly, that's a terrible habit I got to work on. I'm always honest. That's my default. I can't help it. It's the autism. So for me, at least, all I have to say about it is that when it comes down to it, I love you, you love me, we're one happy family, all that stuff. The cold intro, everything collectively, it is the hardest stuff, especially for hosts. So it fell flat in a way, but I think it was also for me personally watching it, because to me it was almost a little sad ending with we're all a happy family, let's love each other, having the majority of her hosting monologue be about how she's sad to be single, essentially. So it's what it is. I think there was a lot written in for her and probably a lot told to her, and she trusted them, which is going to lead to the overall review of this episode, because I truly think Selena Gomez is going to come back to host again, and she's going to be even better. I see Selena Gomez akin to Gwyneth Paltrow. And if anyone doesn't know the history, that's good for you, because believe it or not, after this, there's going to be the second half. The second half is going to be my review of the first episode ever of Saturday Night Live, which I'm saying is within the first seasons and the second seasons, you're going to see more of that stuff, like Candice Bergman, for example. But the reoccurring actresses that do better and better each time, the more comfortable they are, and you can just totally tell. Anyways, Cameron Diaz is another one that comes to mind. She was really, really special to the show post 9/11. All right, so that's all I got for the cold intro, and that's all I got for the host monologue. And then we go to the first sketch of the night, which is the Bratz doll sketch. Now, the Bratz doll sketch came out at 4 minutes and 10 seconds, approximately. And you had it starring Sarah Silverman, Kyle Mooney, Heidi Bowen Yang, Selena Gomez, and Aidy Bryant. Now, the setup of this sketch was the parents are getting divorced, played by Kyle Mooney and Heidi Gardner. One of the first things I noticed is this is like the third, fourth episode at least, where Heidi Gardner has been playing an awful lot of the elderly characters, like the mother figure or the librarian, which I'll talk about in another sketch later on. So then Heidi and Mooney exit fairly quickly within the first few seconds of the sketch, having set it up as they are getting divorced, and he cheated on her, not the other way around. So, and also they drop that he's going to Miami. So then they leave, and now you have Sarah Silverman, and here is my first take from this sketch. Here's what I have to say. This is very honest opinion. I feel like this is Sarah Silverman. She is stepping up. She's coming up and this is a big time sketch. This is, matter of fact, the first sketch, which is the best sketch supposedly, and here's what I feel like. Were I the writer, were I the person in the room, were I working with them, Aidy Bryant is playing one of the Bratz dolls. Now, Aidy Bryant is a sexualized, slutty brat doll. Now, the thing about Aidy that I think is wonderful is the big woman, big, beautiful, but also the sensuality. And so when she plays a skankier, sluttier type sexualized character, she's coming across a lot more, an awful lot more of the sultry type nature of sexuality. It's not overtly sexual. I love that about her being that way. So I am not against using Aidy Bryant in the way that they did. But here's what I have to say. I love Aidy Bryant on Weekend Update when she performs as a young girl character doing reports of her family vacations. And for those unfamiliar, it's kind of more like this kind of a voice. It's very much like the nerd's voice, right? This is like this is my kid character. Like have a kind of pseudo adult character, but like, oh mom, oh gee, oh god, mom, oh yeah. Like mine is there's like a lot of range with it, but there's like the dweeby, that's the nerdy one. But in general, like Sarah played Sarah. They made her look a lot younger, like a girl in the dress and the pigtails. However, it was obvious to me that she already shows she plays very well when she's slotted as a wild character. When she's slotted as something basically she's a commanding player type, but I feel her most versatility, especially right now, is where she's comfortable. And her most obvious comfort zone, based on her Instagram and her presence and the way that she got to SNL, you can tell that Sarah Silverman's most comfortable zone is in a character that has multiple colors or a wild type quirkiness and things like that. So I don't know about her improv background. I don't know. I should look it up. But what I do know about her is what she shined as so far up till now in this episode. And now, all that being said, all I'm saying is I would propose that they could have swapped out the Bratz doll that 80 played, had 80 play a young girl character, because she's shown many, many times 80 can handle playing a young kid type character with the vocal specifically, but also the mannerisms were not there with Silverman's character. So, that being said, then Silverman could have been a Bratz doll that was messed up. Like maybe it was the one that she tried to give a haircut to. So its hair is janky. Maybe it's the one where she tried to give it a fashion outfit. Maybe it's the one where her older brother or younger brother got a hold of it and rubbed on it marker on its face so it has a really stupid tattoo type thing. Whatever was janky or silly about it would have nailed what I said as far as what I'm suggesting is her comfort zone. So if you had done it that way, I believe it would have been a much better sketch. Now, I think a lot of people are going to really love this sketch. And that being said, I want to say the other thing is you could tell Selena Gomez, she really loved this sketch. She was smiling, she having a good time in the sketch. She was really enjoying it. And then the other thing I would say about this sketch was that you could notice, I don't know if this was a decision made before or after, but the person who was directing this sketch had a side view of the Bratz characters. So they were in a side view 3-line profile. And that hid a lot of the staleness that comes across from Selena when she's facing the audience. Now, a lot of people might not understand what I'm saying, but when you've never done this type of thing in front of that, like an audience, there is a reason that these actresses and actors come off as somewhat more or less stale. It's because they cannot control it. It's in their head. There are 3 different things going on, and the main one all over the place, scattering all this around, is panic / anxiety / adrenaline. But everything else is like, don't forget your lines, don't forget your lines, even though they have the cue cards right in front of you so you don't forget your lines. And then the other one is thinking like stage directions that you in the live had just gotten previously. So I really do not think that it's fair at all to judge or say anything negative when it comes to that type of thing. But what I'm saying is I can tell immediately from this sketch that it was a really good decision and it should be a future choice. And it's something I will think about when I'm on SNL directing my sketches, is the host, dependent on the host and their ability, because I know what I'm looking for, what I could see through the camera, and I'll know, and I will have it. And I think Lauren is going to really value that about me, that I'm really in tune with a lot of these things, because I'm pretty sure that's all the type of stuff that Lauren thinks about other than time. Time is so critical to him, I'm sure, always. Keep the show. Got a time, you know? So all of that said, the sketch itself wasn't the worst sketch of the night. For me, it certainly wasn't the best, but it was definitely a great opening for the first sketch in general. And then also, other than that, one more thing I'll say is there's mean, funny jokes in it. So there's this thing I deemed as mean, funny. Essentially, I have a darker sense of humor, so I would get a chuckle, but like ultimately it's based around negative type atmosphere, putting down and such. So the dolls, she asks if she can have a hug, and the dolls say no, we have stuff in our hands, and there's nothing in their hands. There's nothing in your hands. Now, the thing I know about Bratz dolls is they do have like things, you know. So then they're like, we might be holding things later. So I don't know. I thought it was kind of fun, but also it's kind of like, okay, I get it. I didn't really like that they were saying they're going to go to Florida with her dad. I thought that was kind of like, she's like, can you just go back and become Bratz dolls? And they're like, no, we're actually staying normal. We're going to go with your dad. But, you know, other than that, they did this pose thing with the music and it'd be like, da, 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 da. So as far as I know, the the posing thing, that's been used a couple times in the past with sketches. So yeah. So that was the first sketch, cold open and everything. And then they lead into a pre record, which the punchline is that men in their 30s, long term boyfriends with girls, are pathetic, useless, and don't know how to function. Which I have always felt this way. It's like, why are these dudes so bad? So bad that they can become this. It shouldn't be that way, but I know that it must be that terrible. That it probably nailed home. And I bet you that sketch was very popular with a lot of the fans and a lot of the people that just saw that sketch and a lot of people that shared that sketch around. So I was 2 minutes and 45 seconds approximately. And it was basically a parody off of this thing where Japanese parents let their young toddlers go out on run errands and come home for them. And so then they did it where you let your long term boyfriend go. And I thought Selena Gomez was good in it in the sense of like you could tell she's definitely more comfortable with things that are recorded, obvious reasons. And otherwise, she also, delivery wise, nailed it. Her comedic timing is obviously there. And, she had the wine glass and then he messed up oratorially. So she's like, oh, he did not get me at all what I needed, stuff like that. So that's all that. And now the funnest part, we're at about 29, so we're almost 30 minutes in. We still have 2 quarters of the show to go. And the first thing I'm going to do, however, is a new thing. So once again, this is going to all be better in the future. Be better, kid, right? Be better. Enjoy a quick commercial. No, wait. It wasn't a commercial. That's right. Commercials are for fun. Please enjoy some upcoming FPS productions. Coming soon, or then later, the Futures Player Society presents to you reviews by Dab Bradley and Hooligan. Good to be back, bro. Oh, it's a good one. Yeah, me and Hoop Street, mate. Dab Bradley and me, Hoop Street, we're gonna be reviewing different things. Like, for example, we got a different taste, but obviously I like them really good ones. Like, so we're gonna be reviewing Maverick, right, for Top Gun and Room 2, and Dabley's gonna be reviewing things like, bro, I got I like the Marvels, I do like Obi-Wan Kenobi and shit, right. We both enjoy the Star Wars triggers and stuff, but either way, look forward to it. We're gonna be doing reviews. Also gonna be showing you what Mr. Nancy, right? You could take over for us, could you? Also coming sooner than later to the Futures audience. Behind the scenes footage. Goof Troop. Goofy tapes. Goofy takes. Silly shenanigans. Alright, I just made that all up off script. No, basically coming soon, you're gonna have wait, Hooligan, what am I? Mate, we pay you to talk. You're supposed to have your script, mate. You know what I mean? Bro. just, Right, Dabbley gets it right. Alright, Mr. Nancy just announced the fact that we're going to be revealing where Dabbley was up. All I had to do is escape him. Coming soon. Story for explanatory explanations. Hooligan, how did he get Dab Bradley out of the Christian camp? Dab Bradley, will he ever recover with his new take on life? Stay tuned, folks. And now back to your regular reviewing product. And we're back. Yeah, no. Oh, man. So much to look forward to in the next couple of coming months. I'm so excited for that. Can't wait to see what that, my favorite personally I'm looking forward to is that reviews by Dab and Hooligan. Oh, man. What a ranchy banchy, brunchy bonchy. Ugh. Let's get back to the reviews, huh? Oh man, what a rat down to him. That's the thing about doing this. Once again, be better, be better. What's gonna happen is it's gonna be a lot cleaner. I'm just giving everyone a general idea of what's coming, and then at the same time, I'm learning to edit, and I don't pay myself nearly enough. For those who don't know the storyline or whatever, I'm essentially going to be the narrator. I'm going to be speaking from the future to the past. Kind of like akin to young Sheldon, if you will, on CBS. Though I would prefer to promote anything on Peacock and NBC, especially, and Hulu Network. Though, anyways, everything I do sounds like a promotion for a reason, right? No, I only talk about the things that I do use. I only talk about the things that I do consume. During that nice little update break, I was able to get myself this update. We will get to that. Don't worry, folks. So this comes up to the second sketch of the night, a one that I really enjoyed, ultimately because it allowed Melissa Villaseñor to perform as the main plot narrator, like the main plot device, the linchpin of the show, if you will. When it comes to this sketch specifically, it was Melissa Villaseñor once again playing a Latin-based character. It was called Pico on Pico or Pico off Pico. Either way, now that I am officially living in Los Angeles, I actually do know Pico. So it was fun for me as well to get that finally a little insider. Never lived in New York long enough to get all the great stuff that Stefan is most famous for. But either way, it was really cool. Also, as far as the second sketch, Selena was right in full force. You could tell she was playing a character that was comfortable to her, cozy, if you will. Probably because I'm sure she's familiar with that kind of thickening accent type atmosphere. Now, this once again had what I am deeming, if you will. I am Jeff Goldbluming it. I wish to tell you this. Apartments.com. No. What I'm getting at, though, is more important than apartments.com, believe it or not. No, I'm just saying. It's kind of called, it's a mean funny, if you will. So what they did is they're kind of playing slightly stupider characters, and they have a morning broadcast show. It reminded me a lot, actually, of the Bronx talk show that was done. I believe it was in the mid 2000s when they were doing it. It was still Maya Rudolph was still on the show. It was Maya Rudolph, and then it was oh man, Parks and Recreation. I'm not sure why I can't think of her name off the top of my hat. UCB founder, um, Tina Fey's co. You know, people know who I'm talking about, and then leave your irritations in the comments, folks, or however you can give me clout that way. I don't mind. The name will come to me eventually during this cast, I'm sure. She played Hillary Clinton phenomenally. Better than Mckinnon, in my personal opinion. Oh, keep laying it in, buddy, so people know that you're not insulting a former cast member or anything. Well, they had that Bronx talk show. It was pretty fun, and so this was Pico, and it was a Latina characters. I want to refrain from calling them cholas, but I didn't say it specifically. But let's just say we know what the archetype type atmosphere was going for, and I loved it. It was wonderful. So they're slightly less intelligent type characters, and so then what you had that was kind of a mean, funny thing is you had Mikey Day, and he was wanting to give a report from the park. So they're like, we're gonna tune into this guy. They pull him up, and he starts to set up the whole thing, and they cut him off. They cut him off because they're like that, and then they literally cut it off feed, and then they go on to the next person. Which once again, this goes into Heidi Garner, and she plays a librarian, which is reformed and based on this character older, at least totally. I don't want to predict or say any narrations or anything, but since Chloe Fineman's come along, I've noticed Chloe Fineman performing in a lot more roles that Garner was in the previous 2 seasons, and I'm noticing Garner being phased into a different, slight older slot, more. Let's just say it's starting to remind me a little bit of. Oh wow, my head is going wild. I think it's tough for some more coffee right now. um, uh, Let's get back to the pre-written stuff, kid. So Pico up Pico, you have her playing a librarian. She's talking about books, and then they ask her about other books. What she, you can watch the sketch. Some of these are going to be more abbreviated. I'm dusting off the cobwebs, aren't I? It's going to be a whole string of Vanessa Bear. Okay, there you go. There's one of them coming off the tip, and Vanessa Bear is the one that Heidi Gunner's starting to remind me more of, which might mean many things, but potentially it could mean this might be her last or second to last season. Who knows? Who knows where the go? Who knows where the goes? Even they don't know actually. Usually until leading up to the season getting ready to start up, So they were talking to the librarian, and then they bring up, once again, they're more dumber type characters. So they bring up Dr. Seuss, and then it's fun. And then they cut the librarian off. So it's like, oh, okay, this is how they do, and it is very fun because it's basically like a fun little, it's they just cut them off because the attention span is light, and also they don't know necessarily fully what they're doing, and it's very beautiful. It reminds me also of like when Jimmy Fallon and Horatio Sands used to do their sketch where they were like doing a college type internet broadcast, thing. So yeah, it was a okay enough sketch. I would say it was my second favorite of the night. Um, Mainly because the next one was definitely my favorite. So that's what I'm going to lead into now. Once again, though, I will say this though: Selena Gomez during the sketch, you could tell she would fall into her head, which I believe is nerves. I believe it's a lot, and I think once again, it's an example of how I know for a fact when she's on the show again, she will be even more fire. She'll be like Tom Hanks. I could see Selena Gomez being similar to Tom Hanks. How Tom Hanks first time did great, but Tom Hanks second time did bad. Wow, you don't think you could do better than great, right? But every time since that time, Tom Hanks is like, I got this. I let's do this. Let's have fun. Let's do this. And he knows and he's comfortable and he's used to the audience. That's the thing. So Pico on Pico had Selena facing the audience direct more, and I think that got in her head a little bit. And so you could kind of see that. You could see it just a little bit, and that's fine. I believe entirely in growth. So yeah, there's that, and then otherwise, it went back to Mikey Day a couple times, and he's just trying to get the thing started. So he's like he's doing his best to be professional, not realizing what he's dealing with, and that was fun, especially toward the end. And otherwise, then that leads into my favorite sketch of the night. My favorite sketch of the night would be the third sketch, and that was what I'm gonna deem it. I'm gonna call it the penis play. I think partly the introduction is basically Keenan DeWatt, his DeWatt character, but this time he's the theater director for the show. And he's explaining about this penis that's seen in the scene. And it's known and all this stuff. And he says penis like so many times that I think that was part of the sketch on an inside level. The writers really were playing to see how far through they could get that kind of like that word or something. Something. I don't know. It's possible there was a lot going on and the censors would roughen it out, so they just used just the word penis because they know that you can say that lie. Like it's okay to say that word. That's just what it is. So anyway, there's a famous scene in this play, and then you have Mikey Day and Melissa Villasenor. They are performing as the audience members, which is very fun. There's a couple cut takes to them where they have their side conversation that really perfectly adds to the scene, especially. At one point, the actors release the dogs accidentally early, and she turns and she goes, "Oh, it says here in the playwright the bill that the dogs are understudies as well," which leads to what I'm getting at. This is why it's my favorite sketch of the night. The best premise, something I wish that I would have thought of and probably could have come along for the ride, because it's basically understudies because the main cast got COVID. And so not only is there a famous penis scene, but also now you have the actors played by Cicely Strong and Selena Gomez. And it's an Irish play. So there are Irish accents. And so at one point, Selena comes in and her accent is messed up. It sounds more British, if you will. And then Keenan's, the director, keeps popping in because he has to help the play. And he says, what are you using, And she's like, then she's doing an Australian type thing, like, oh, I can't do Irish, so I thought I'd do this because they're understudies. You understand, and that is why this is so funny. Meanwhile, Cicely cannot remember lines like easy lines, and then also there's a one point where it gets really fun because they say they're talking about a clothesline, I believe, and then Keenan pops in and he's like, line? And they're like, line, line. He's like, line. And he's like, forget about it. And there's one point when Keenan gets so fed up with the nonsense that he's like, all right, I'm doing it now. And he gets to play three different characters, and it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of improv stacking involved with this sketch, which is why it's my favorite of the night. It's a very well done sketch. Um, what you have Bowen comes out. He's the one that had to prep the penis, but he's ready early, so he just comes out at the end. I'm pretty sure that's how they close it. That's right. And then Keenan's like, "Do you even know your lines at least?" And then he says this janky like, the Keenan's like, "Those were the lines," and then that's how the sketch ends. So to me, that was very well performed as far as closing it out like that. And then otherwise, there was some funny stuff. Like it really showed Selena has a lot of potential and is a phenomenal when it comes to comedic timing. Selena Gomez nailed it. The best timing ever. Like it was so beautiful to see this. Basically, the characters talking about alcohol, and drinking, and then Keenan says to her about her line is to get alcohol, right? And she rebuttals right back, like looks in the pockets, everything. I don't have any change. It's perfect. You'll have to see the sketch. Enjoy it like I did. It was approximately 4 minutes and 40 seconds long. Oh, the other one that I really enjoyed is so then Cicely says the line. She goes, "Wash your mouth," like wash it out. Wash your mouth. And then Keenan's like, "It's what?" He goes, "Watch." And so then she goes, "Right, wash your watch." And it's phenomenal. It's just all examples of wonderful writing, and I'm sure great contributions. And so then, yeah, I mean that's about it on that one. Uh, and I would say number one sketch. If you're gonna watch any of the sketches from that, that would be the sketch that I would suggest and recommend. If I were talking to someone that says SNL is not good anymore, that is what I would pull up. I would be like, this aired just last week, and you should watch this. And if you don't laugh, I don't know who you are, because it's that. It really is. It shows that SNL still has the potentials and the standards and what's required to be what they are, which is live, sketch, variety, clever. And then that leads into another pre-record, and this pre-record was approximately 3 minutes and 20 seconds. And for me personally, I feel like Selena was forced in. She's essentially playing once again the same character, like to what, which is like the whole. It's an expletive. It's like a short about Martin. Or I'm sorry, Steve Martin. Excuse me, different Martin. You know what I mean, though. So Steve Martin's character is like the adventor of whoopee cushions and was inspired by A.D. Bryant, who's this just goofy lady that all this silly gags jokes basically happened to. So that was the entire thing. It was okay. I feel like they underused Steve Martin's potential. I feel like overall they could have done a different thing entirely. But these are stupid things to say when I'm soliciting myself to work with the same people that wrote it and performed it. So I'm gonna keep my mouth. For those listening, I just did the pantomime of zipping my lips shut. So that being said, though, it was all right. But Selena really felt forced. I almost don't feel like she needed to be in it at all. I almost feel like they put her in it just because of the fact that it had Steve Martin in it and they're in that show together. Otherwise, I feel like instead of Selena, they could have given a chance to one of the other players to show another side of themselves. Truly, I feel that way. But that's my opinion. That's how I feel. I'm always feeling like little bits and pieces about encouraging people to get outside of themselves and do something they haven't really considered. Like, I think personally, it would have been fun if it was Punky Johnson, for example, and not being super gay and not being super loud and not being super everything that's wonderful, and a large reason why she's a pleasant or a positive attribute to have on the show as far as versatility, skill set, and potential. But I would say having her in it and having her be like the like a literally an introduction type character that's like a person, and maybe have her try something different, like a look or something. I don't know, or something fun, maybe an accent. But that's just me. And just an example off the top of my hat. And now, a word from our sponsors.
Right, mate. So now that our budget is out, it costs me money, right? So what we gotta find sponsors, right? Because we're in Doris, right? I was thinking, like, I mean, I nicked a few of them golden thingies from the Christians, right? I feel like I got a couple of these crosses, mate, and I got maybe I got like a bit of golden ringers and like I got Hollywood. I got an awful lot of Hollywood. I don't know if I want to get rid of it though, just in case the vampires or the Ripper Juniors or bro. uh, remember when I would stop on the road take a piss? Right, yeah, I remember. Uh, I was actually checking on my buds, and so I've been bagging it up, and like I was just like, I was trying to like moderate, it's like it's broke, but I was thinking like people could like buy. mm, So all right, it's pretty cheap. I was do like 1.5 for 20 or something, Right, mate. My math is not that good anymore. Often I've never been a math expert, but I gotta say that sounds a bit off, right? Gotta make profit. Well, you Seth Rogen now. All right, then. Either way, I think that's a good idea. So, if anybody's interested, we'll need the money. So, feel free to go to our website, www.futuresplayerssociety.com, or you could go to www.roadtosno.com and feel free to just send us money and then we'll mail you I got us golden trinkets, like 24 karat gold and oh no, I couldn't let it go for cheap. But if you're interested in the holy water, I got it, it's blessed and all that. And then W's got a good and like it's got a lot of weird sound that, so feel free. Alright then. Back to the program. Right, I figure.
That cannot be legal. There is just no way. I'm gonna have to talk to the manager, Carl, if I could get a hold of that guy down in South America, wherever he may be. Not to mention, I don't know whoever else controls the money. Oh, that is not all right. I will admit, though, uh, I am happy with the ability to have this dehydrated coffee. Oh man, oof that. If the lighting's looking different, there's a reason why. So that's because I'm doing a full shift and also dusting off the cobwebs. Also, there's a lot more to add. There's a lot of flavor to find. And as I said before, maybe you woke up, went to the bathroom, had a little get the water out, walking back, and I'm still talking like this and putting you right back to dreamland. Let me know how it goes. So, let's see. Rounding out on the final lap there, bottom of the ninth, kid. We're gonna see Larry King. Almost like a Larry King voice, huh? A little Beetlejuice, huh? Hey, kid. Beetlejuice. Hey, don't say my name, huh? Looking forward to that Flash movie. The Flash movie coming out in a couple of months. Summer release time. One of the hardest times, but if you're an action flick, it's usually a good time as well. So, we got weekend update. Here's how it goes. Approximately 12 minutes and 30 seconds long total. You begin off with the good stuff. One thing I noticed right off the bat, this is definitely the most popular with the audience. I am pretty sure there might be a chance if you interviewed the audience over an entire season, there might be a large percentage of them that mostly know Weekend Update and love it. Whether that be they love Colin, whether they love Michael, whether they love Colin and Michael, or whether they just simply really value that part of the show. And, rightfully so. There's a reason it is actually, matter of fact, if you were to break it down, the linchpin of the entire show. It is the moment when either people turn the television off or they're still watching the show. It wraps it all together. That's all I'm getting at now. Enough said. This weekend update, you had the jokes, and then it went right into, okay, so around there was about 3 minutes and 25 seconds with Baby Yoda. The only thing I like about Baby Yoda at this point, and this is it's what it is, but it's just what it is. I will say this: the intro music remix of The Mandalorian sounded so cool. I'm sure there was a reason they could only play so much of it. I think Kyle's great. I think Kyle over the years has been very underutilized. That's my opinion. Don't take it personally, Lauren, especially. I don't know shit or jack or dick about anything. When it comes to you, especially you, Lauren, I must say that's the facts. I would never. Because it's you saying it, I take everything back. But really, I don't think I'm the only person that thinks that the Baby Yoda was great the first time. Okay, the second, but this time it pretty much showed like there needs to be something else. That same character, minus the Yoda, would be a great character to have, I feel. These are just my feelings. What I enjoyed better, though, was later on, about 4 minutes and 10 seconds long, was a segment with Sarah back. And this is what I was saying earlier, what I really love about Sarah Silverman, is the fact that especially when she's wilding or she's playing off of these concepts that are a little more loud, but a little more goofy, but a lot of fun, but also serious in a way, but not really too serious. She shines. And that weekend update is my favorite example. So once again, she's back at the weekend update, but this time she's traveling correspondent in the audience. And then she takes time to do a clean balance. Whether she writes it all or other people help her, I don't know. But I would say this is great. How this works out is it's a polite bouncing back and forth. So she jabs at Colin, yes, but first, more importantly, she jabs at herself. She pulls out a rack of clothes and makes a few jokes about looking like a child and such. Now, I probably could have wrote a better joke. What was the same premise? What she did say about the whole, I forget if it was interns or something. I'm not sure. It was something about her looking like a young boy, basically. But either way, it's not a big deal, and I don't work there for a reason yet. Haha, Futures audience, once again, great to see y'all. So here's the deal. So she goes to Colin's room, and then she's showing all this stuff, affirmations on the wall, all this stuff. Colin's like, that is not. You got to stop all that. It's wonderful. She reaches for a picture, which is a prop, which Colin reveals shortly thereafter was supposed to be like a nude of her, which would have been a great punch in general. But she's probably nervous. Maybe her fingers were greasy because she had a quick butter toffee. I don't know why butter toffee now is. Someone else was like, the point is that it slips out. She quickly turns her head. I'm sure doing two things: looking for the photo to see if she can grab it sly, but also collecting herself because it's live. This ain't the rehearsal no more. This ain't even Friday. This ain't in the rooms. This is 100% live. This is the first episode I'd say that she was a star part of in majority of the show, etc., and so on and so forth. I'm telling you, like a champion, like a pro, like a survivor, like an actress that I could definitely see being around for at least 2, 3. We don't want to really go past 50. I'm not sure how that works when you catch up to yourself. Once again, I'm the narration device talking from the future to the past. Hey. Ooh. Season 48 right around the corner. Looking for a job if you're hiring. Lauren Michaels and family. And also, well, her last name's Powers. You don't want to. I'm just throwing these out there. Affirmations, they tell me, are important. Once again, dusting off the cobwebs. Don't worry. It's going to be more straight to the point. So, that's it for Weekend Update. Real friendly. You can see Sarah tapping Colin. having a good time, floating off. And it was great. It was wonderfully done. She powered through perfectly when she flubbed. And yeah, so then you go like right after that, it's gonna go off that, right? Fourth sketch of the night is a royal marriage. I'm not gonna say much about it. Essentially, you got Mikey Day is playing a prince that it's a lead in with the book crawl of a fantasy storyline. You kill the dragon, you get the princess. And Keenan's playing the king of the kingdom, and then his three daughters in wait would be played by, in order of appearance, it would be Cicely. I hope that's the right one. Did I write it down? I don't know. No. Well, okay. Ego, Kate McKinnon, Selena Gomez. There we go. Big flub again. Ha! Those who watched in the past episodes would know what I'm joking and laughing. It's like, oh wow, messed up about Ego again. You knucker. Knucklehead. Knucklehead, that's what I'm saying. Okay, everybody, come on. Running out of a caffeine low right now. Getting ready to go to the comedy store to work on my stuff and at the same time see about a job, right? Manifesting all the time. So what's to be said is basically he's asking for a princess. He's choosing his princess. He's explaining that there's always something wrong with the third one usually, but in general. So he's having him do all this. Da, 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 da. I didn't really enjoy the sketch, but that's just me and my personal taste. And also, I just I tend to not enjoy humor based around deprecating women personally. But that's also probably because of the fact that I know so very little about what it's like to be a female at all. And with all the respect in the world I have to the potential of being a negative in any way upon, which I choose to do my darndest to maintain. More, let's keep it masculine, and if a female is involved, let's make sure it's good. Or let's ask one of the other female players, writers, etc., to work with us because we want to make sure that the females in our sketch are appropriate. And if not appropriate, at least when it goes off, all's well. But if it doesn't go off, there's somebody to lean on. Showbiz, baby. Also, respect. Fails, it fails. Wins, it wins. All I care about is getting there, right? Well, but those who know, we're already there. All right, then. So, the bubble butt was the ender. Okay? Kate McKinnon gets chosen, and she has literally a butt, like a plastic butt. It reminded me a lot of, if you all know about the little hands with Kate McKinnon, the little hands with Kate McKinnon. It was like that kind of a thing with the bubbles and John Hamm, It's been a while, but the bubbles of the butt, it was fun because it was bubble butt. Maybe people didn't notice that we're not paying enough attention. It's subtlety, but also obvious. That's what was her thing. And then it cues in right straight on Kate. You can tell Kate knows where she's at. Kate knows that she's loved, and Kate is having a darn good time because she got to throw in a little bit of a quip about being gay, which is wonderful, lesbian specifically, but I think gay covers female and male, but I don't want to be disrespectful and I don't want to talk out of ignorance or out of tongue. So either way, I could tell Kate really knew it was a great sketch. Everything's great. I can tell Kate's really soaking it all in, which gives me a little bit of fear that she might not stick around for another 2 seasons, 3 seasons, or whatever she decides is goodbye, Lauren, I'm sure. I know I could never, ever in a billion quadrillion years replace her. That's for sure. Once again, mad respect, all my lady friends out there, of course, as Hoop Street would say. Yeah, so basically that's it. So then the other thing was there was a thing, maybe people couldn't hear it. I actually, because I rewatched it 2 times to make this and write this out, I noticed personally, so the end tag with the vocal part, the narrator is saying, they go, third one gets them every time. And I was like, oh, okay, that's chill. I mean, I figured it out. But anyway, Kate winks and it's just soaking in the laughs. You can really tell how beautifully, it was a beautiful moment, I'm sure, for the people involved. For me personally, it was not even close to a sketch I enjoy. But that's fine. I'm not gonna love everything. Just like comedy, I still enjoy the experience of experiencing.
I swear to you. No, I am not going to go any deeper into that. That has got to be talked about in a podcast, I'm sure, with Casey some other time. Uh, you know. So then, otherwise, that was the end of that one. Then there was a pre-record again, and that pre-record was about cheating, basically. Kind of. It was a. So here's how it is. So yeah, Selena Gomez in the apartment, and Chris Red is her boyfriend and stuff, right? And he's chill, and then he's all like, "Yo, we're out of paper towels. I'm gonna go down to the bodega and get some, you know." And she's all, "Oh, but you know," and he's like, "No, it's just right downstairs, you know." And then he goes down to get the paper towels, and then you got Punky. Once again, if you can fit a part, that's great by me. And that's exactly what she does beautifully. So Punky Johnson pops up as this character, and is basically influencing the moment through music. It becomes one of those musical ones, which is fine, and directed accordingly. So it's a real sketch, but then it's directed with the more music vibe because of that, I think. So anyway, that's what happens. The conscience, if you will, is telling her to go through his stuff, and that he's going down to some girl. Nah, she eventually, the punch is like, throw his Xbox on. She's like, all right, sure, and throws the Xbox. Then he comes in. He's like, what the hell? That's my Xbox you just threw out there. What do you know? And then he's got paper towels and everything. And then he's like, I'm gonna go get my Xbox. He goes down, and then it happens again, right? And what happens again? Then the puncher one is kick the TV. So she kicked the TV, and then that's it. And then the next part is then it flips the script, you know, and then she mentions that she's been with better guys or whatever, which is a trigger for a lot of, you know, what do you call it? Underdeveloped males. So then the underdeveloped males usually freak out. So then that's when a nice little cameo pop up, which you don't see often. So I'm gonna give this out to Post Malone because it shows chops to be willing to do that and be a part of the sketch stuff. And you know what? Perfect role, perfect fit in. He pops on, you know. So now you got Post Malone, musical once again as well. And Post Malone is telling Chris Red all this stuff. And then I forget what he does. He does something, whatever. And then she comes back out like, what the hell, you know? And then the punchline of this whole thing is basically then Post Malone and Punky tell them, like, because they're like, well, what do we do now or whatever? Have anger sex. So for me personally, I don't really appreciate overt sexuality, especially in a show that, at least for me and a lot of people that I've known, watched when it wasn't, let's just say, considered age appropriate hours, etc., to be watching alone. But you know what? Some people were better. What's it called? Not parenting as a whole, better observe. Look, you know what? Bless their hearts. They worked hard. They were heavy sleepers. And I, of soft feet and subtle fingers, knew how to unlock that little gate and watch late night television at Saturday. And that's that. So, all right, then, what you gonna do, right? All right, the point is, overt sexuality, not my favorite thing in the world. Goofy, over the top things, you know, silly Will Ferrell with his pants, you know, his little whitey tighties and nonsense, you know. I'm all right with that stuff. Yeah. Okay, but like, you know, we're not trying to be crass here. Okay, that's how I view it. I don't know how Lauren feels. Obviously, it made it to air for a reason. I'm guessing because Post Malone had once again the chops to show up and do some fun. And I'm also gonna guess because Selena hadn't been in everything, and it was another thing, and they probably had some good days to film, and it all worked out, I'm sure, and it really did. So that was 3 minutes and 15 seconds, and then you pop off with the sketch number 5, it would be, and that's a high school model thing. So essentially, you got Bo and Yang, and I'm gonna say give it up to the atmosphere. I cannot remember, but I do remember Amy Poehler. Hey, what I tell you, the other tip of the tongue's popped off the fork, right? I'm implying that I have a forked tongue. Maybe I am the devil. We don't really know what I'm saying right now, other than I remembered Amy Poehler. Mad respect, woman in charge. Rest in peace, UCB, as anybody knew it in 2019 at the latest, earliest, if you will. All right, then, feel free to check out their website. They may still be doing online classes. I definitely know they have quite a few good texts and books that have been written by their founding former peoples, and plenty of YouTube tapes. This is once again an unnecessary and unrequested plug for an improv theater, formerly and or present. Who really knows where things go other than those to do. All right. So it was a high school model, basically. So Bowen and the other partner player were both telling the high school audience about future, what they should do after high school, and they were all telling them all to model. They're saying model, and they would call to Chris Red, for example, and some other player, and it would be goofy, silly, whatever. It was a 2-minute sketch. The punchline, I'm not sure if I think it was just thrown in there. I think it was a thing where you're working with time. I think there might have been a thing where there was another thing that could have been there, and Lorne made decisions, and because he made those decisions, that's why that thing wasn't there, because there was another thing, and that was the only thing I think that Lorne knew was going to be exactly 2 minutes, and that's based off the rehearsal and everything else, and I think that's one of those things where that's what happened. That's what I feel. I'm not Lorne. I haven't met him yet officially, though. Then again, Future's audience, I love and respect you. Push like, subscribe, and follow, and share, and just do whatever you can. Spread it out there. Hashtag find me Lorne. I don't know. That's stupid to say. I sound so old. Who says hashtag? That's dumb. Who says that? That is so 2012. All right. Yeah, so the final sketch, 6, would be 4 minutes long. And you could tell why it's an ender sketch. It's one of those ones where they're just seeing if it works. Tossing it through. You can totally tell it's one of those ones where Selena had fun with it and all that great stuff. The setup is high school party at her house, but Selena didn't mention she's also babysitting her siblings. The siblings were performed by Sarah Silver and Bowen Yang. And once again, it shows proof to what I said. So Sarah Silver's is great in anything silly, goofy, everything you could tell. That's where she's most comfortable. And that was what she did well. While they were playing around, doing all sorts of wild stuff, I think I could have wrote a better sketch. That's my ego talking, I'm sure. No, in general, though, I can see why a lot of people are going to really enjoy it. The reasons that I didn't enjoy it, basically, are very, very simple. I think that it would have been funny if, for example, the babies suddenly had, like, a gambling thing going on with the teddy bears and stuff, and they were, like, doing a gambling thing. I thought it would have been funny if the babies suddenly were a part of a story narrative where every time they tune back in, they become more and more interesting, as if it's like a television program now. Since the premise was that they wanted to pay more attention to the babies than even have a good time drinking with her dad's beer. You see what I'm saying? I think that's what I would have done with it. Ultimately, the punchline of it, the final end of it, was that then the babies had their own camera. They were watching them. You could see through the TV, and then they did the whited out eyes to make it slightly scary, which I felt was off kilter to what the entire thing was. And ultimately, once again, I feel like it should have been more like this. So here's how I would have done it. Let's end this episode right now the way that I'd look to the future to be doing it. More importantly, so check this out. Okay, here's how it goes. I love it. Here's how I would have written it. I would have had it be same everything except for this. When they check on the siblings, the baby siblings, the first time, it might be really as simple as a quick cut and they're just chilling and go back so they can keep talking. Second time, or someone gets distracted at first, one of the friends or whatever, and is looking and thinking that they're crazy, because then it cuts to, and the babies are, like I said, maybe they're setting up a drug deal. Maybe they're setting up a gambling thing. Whatever they're doing, they're setting it up, and it's ridiculous. Then, cut back to them, and now it's like there's another one of them watching, while she's just like, no, we need to keep drinking. Or she's popping. Maybe at this point, I would have been like, let's get wild with it, where Selena's like going crazy, trying to do her best all by herself. So it's fun, added humor. Because the point of the final one, I feel at least, is it's really the best slot to be over. It's the Kennison slot of Saturday Night Live. What can I say? I don't know if that'll catch on, but I will love to use and abuse it if I'm trying to pitch my script. I'll be like, listen, just give me the Kennison sketch, all right? You know, like that will be fun. Oh, yeah. Good thing y'all are the Futures audience, because you can't take my ideas, kid. You see, I got it on record. You see. Speaking of, so Baby Mobsters is a lot of fun. There's a lot of, they did great. Specifically, Bowen and Silver played wonderful off each other and were wild enough to make it work. But I'm saying if I were doing it, this is how I would have done it. So then you have more of the friends involved to the program that is now What Are These Babies Doing every time. And when they cut back, the only reason they're cutting back is because it's her getting more and more sad and wild at the same time, kind of a thing, over the top as she's willing to go. And then that's what I would do. That's how I would do this. And then so anyway, the final thing would be the one what the babies are looking at it and they're like, wait, I think they're watching us. And that's when they get her attention. So then she's like, what do you mean? And then they look at the camera again. And then the babies aren't there. Right? And then that's when she'd be like opening the door, looking and freaking out. And then the babies would jump on them. You dig? That would be how I would do it. The babies would jump on them like poof, poof from both corners. Oh, man. And that's the end of the sketch. And I'm telling you, ending the sketch was just two babies looking slightly demonic that they're watching them. And that was, I think the lines verbatim were, they're watching us, I believe. So anyways, that was 4 minutes. I was going to be a jerk. 4 minutes wasted. Mine is better. Mine is better. You hear me? Listen, you heard about this guy, man. Let me tell you about this guy, all right? That being said, everyone, I appreciate you. Please feel free to stick around for this last little segment thing that's going to pop off. And otherwise, it's been a wonderful time. Once again, subscribe, click the bell button if you want to get all notifications. You don't even have to subscribe. You can still just click the bell button. Either way, thank you. I will be watching attention spans. I will see how long people view. And those of you now restfully falling asleep, I wish you a kind, sweet, loving, restful. You are wonderful. You are beautiful. And gosh dang it, people love you.